Hey, good morning. This is a screencast that will cover the Napoleonic period. This is primarily for the Edmentum learning students. Um, you can look at Napoleon two ways. You can look at him as basically someone who fulfills the French Revolution or someone who undid a lot of the revolution, both its good and bad. In 1789, the people in France revolted. It was a very difficult process involving a foreign invasion. The other monarchs of Europe really did not like what they saw going on in France. It threatened them greatly. And then internally, France went through a horrible time of unstable governments, then the reign of terror, and then the government gaining control again and slowing down the terror, but the people being highly dissatisfied and ready to revolt at a moment's notice. Into this situation, you have the rise of Napoleon. So we have here some of the events of Napoleon. He's born in the island of Corsica, which is a very poor island. His family were minor nobility. He was very close with his mother, not so close with his father. He finds a career path in the army, and he rises in the army, and he goes to France to further his military career. He rises rapidly through the ranks because of his ability. He is an amazing general and tactician, and he seizes control of the government by 1800. He crowns himself the emperor of France, not the king of France. The reason is because the Directory trusted Napoleon to put down revolts, and he did so, and the Directory was very weak. Napoleon was able to find allies within the Directory, and he crowns himself as emperor with their support. One of the things that Napoleon does that's different than the old regime is he is a real believer in meritocracy. That means if you are good at your job, you rise, and you rise up the ranks of power. A case in point, before he took over the army, no commoners, no members of the bourgeoisie would be high-ranking officers. 11 of his 13 top generals rise from the common man. So he is a real believer in meritocracy in that aspect of the revolution, that ability, not position and place of birth, should give you a rise in power. The Congress of Vienna is formed to stop Napoleon. This was a group of European nations such as Russia, Prussia, Britain, and Austria. They wanted nothing to do with Napoleon. They were scared to death of him. They were scared that he was applying equal law to people. The law would apply both to the wealthy and the poor. It would apply to the aristocracy and to the common people. They were also afraid of his very strong desire to expand the power of France. But primarily they were afraid that Napoleon wanted to spread the ideals of the revolution. Napoleon makes a huge mistake by attacking Spain, and an even worse one by attacking Russia. He's not ready for the ferocity that the Russians will do in fighting him, and also that the Russians will scorch the earth. They'll burn everything and not let him have anything to work. And eventually he is exiled. He's sent to Elba, but he comes back after a brief time, and for 90 days the people of France welcome him. They're very excited. The Congress of Vienna forms again, and they defeat Napoleon at Waterloo, and he's exiled then to St. Helena, far away from Europe. He can never get back, and he then basically lives out his life in exile until his death. But Napoleon is very important. Napoleon, in many ways, he brings stability to France. France had so many governments. The end result, though, is that the revolution suffers a big setback in that the Bourbon kings are brought into power, and they're a limited monarchy, but they always want to be absolute monarchy. Some of the real achievements of Napoleon is the idea of his application of law throughout France and Europe, and it was a law based on equality. Napoleon is with his flaws. He did not really promote the rights of all people, particularly women, and he has a sketchy record on slavery. He did allow slavery in some parts of colonies and areas owned by France. Overall, you have to judge whether or not, though, the importance of him really bringing about the idea of meritocracy, that you rise on your ability based because of how good you do something, versus some of his shortfalls, that he was a person who was very military minded. He wanted to conquer France. You should be able now to read the section with a better understanding about Napoleon. He's complex, he's not perfect, he's very important, and probably because of his application of law to all of Europe. Thank you.